Assistant Democratic Leader. Sir, it's good to have you here. First off, I just want to get your reaction. You've seen that NRA ad. You've heard it. What's your reaction?
Well, first of all, Thomas, thank you so much for having me. That is way over the top. I was just taken aback when I heard that this morning. I have no idea who is making the decisions regarding this group. They really ought to take some assessments of themselves because I really believe that this goes extremely, just very over the top as far as I'm concerned.
The NRA has a statement out based on the reaction that a lot of people have had, Congressman, and they have written saying whoever thinks the ad is about President Obama's daughters are missing the point completely, or they're trying to change the subject. The ad is about keeping your children safe. Sir, when you hear that and you've heard the ad, does this just reveal how dirty this fight is going to get to bring any type of gun control reform through Congress as opposed to through an executive order?
Unfortunately, I think that's an accurate assessment. I believe that this is going to get really, as we often say, down and dirty, and it should not be. This should be about common sense. This should be about our children. This should be about mental health. This should be about whether or not it makes sense for individuals to be walking the streets with weapons that are made for war. And this is about whether or not we will have people assessed, have background checks, and have a penalty for those people who falsify the information that they give. This should not be any kind of a question about constitutional rights. We all know what that is. Within the Constitution, we have to all do things that make it safe for all of us to enjoy life. The First Amendment is about free speech, but as so often talked about, it does not give one the right to yell fire in a crowded theater or anything else that's akin to that. And that's what this ought to be about, a discussion about how do we implement the rights that people have under the Second Amendment while keeping people safe and keeping our children secure in their classrooms.
Sir, while we're talking about what we expect to come later today from the President, again, this all based on the Vice President, the Gun Task Force suggestions. Politico was out with an article today entitled Why President Obama's Gun Plan May Be Doomed. In the article, it says there are strong indications that any comprehensive legislation restricting weapons and ammunition won't even see a vote on the House floor. We have heard from people directly after what happened in Connecticut, the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, from Representative Goodlatte, who oversees the Judiciary Committee, chair of that, which is oversight of gun restrictions in this country, saying there is no appetite for this. Since it doesn't seem like much has changed, do you assessment that this will never make it to the House floor for a vote, any type of gun legislation the President talks about today?
Well, you know, we've been down this road before. I was here when we banned assault weapons during the Clinton administration. And the same kind of prognostications were made at that time, yet we did a 10-year ban. Now, I wish at that time the ban had never been allowed to expire, but it was. I do believe that just because it looks as if it's something that would never happen doesn't mean that we cannot create a climate within the Congress, and it does not mean that the public cannot have an outcry sufficient enough for us to do something. So I never approach legislation or anything else in life as if I'm defeated before I've attempted it.
So you bring up... Sir, I want to just show everybody, because you do bring up the public appetite for this. The Washington Post ABC News poll, ban on assault weapons, the support for that is at 58%, those opposing it at 39%. Also asked whether or not there should be a ban on high-capacity ammunition clips. The support for that is at 65%, those who oppose it at 32%. Do you think that this is the President's job to sell now, to basically come out with a PR-style campaign to get out there in front of this issue and convince America that they need to be in touch with representatives like yourself who are on the fence or opposed to any type of legislation to change their minds?
Yes, I do believe that that's what is going to have to occur. It's not going to happen just because the president makes the pronouncement. I think the president is going to have to get out in the hinterlands on this issue and demonstrate it, as he has time and time again, that he can communicate to the American people, with the American people, in such a way to be on board with him trying to get to the 218 we need to get to in the House for this to pass. I do believe that the Senate is more poised to do this than the House, but if the public gets involved, if the president gets out in front on this issue, I do believe we can get to where we need to be.
So real quickly, before I let you go, I want to ask you about some hometown politics concerning South Carolina and the announcement that Mark Sanford is going to be throwing his hat into the ring, running for Congress there. The first congressional district. Still speculation of whether Jenny Sanford is going to be running for that same post. That's his ex-wife. Mark Sanford resigned from his governorship after some personal entanglements with a mistress and divorcing his wife. How do you think? Well, now I'm hearing she's not running. So she's not out officially yet, but she isn't running for that seat, but he is officially in. So what's your reaction to knowing that he's trying to get his foot back into politics?
Well, I'm not surprised at this at all. I do believe that there is still a support base there in many quarters for Mark Sanford. I doubt, though, that he will be as successful as he was in the past. There are a lot of Republicans who will be in that race. Now, the question is how many get in and how much the vote gets diluted in order to determine whether or not his base will get him into the top two people, which I think is what's going to be required to get a nominee. I think that the Democrats will have a very strong candidate. I understand that there are two women who are strongly considering this race. And it will make for some interesting dynamics if we get a good, strong Democratic woman to run if Mark Sanford were to get on the other side. It'll be worth watching.
It'll definitely be worth watching. Congressman James Clyburn.